Welcome to my channel. This is Grichito, and what I do here is solve technical drawing problems and also provide very important information that you can make use of for you to have that performance in your technical drawing examinations. If you are watching my video for the first time, I want to appreciate you, and I want to ask that you subscribe to this YouTube channel as a technical drawing student, as an engineering student. It's very good for you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And what I want to do here right now is to show you some questions or to answer some questions that you may come across on Loci, as we have here questions on Loci problems. And these questions were put together from WAEC questions and NECO questions, West African Examination questions, and National Examination Council question here in Nigeria. So questions that you're coming across here, or the problems that have these questions. So I'm talking about the construction of ellipse, the construction of parabola, the construction of hyperbola, the construction of cycloid, epicycloid, hypocycloid. We are talking about the problem on spiral, involute, helix, and so on. Link mechanism is also part of it. So the questions that are relating to those special curves on Loci are the ones that I put here. I'll be providing answer to them one by one. So let's start with question 1. As you can see here, this diagram that we have here, we have to use to answer question 1 and 2, as we have that figure 4 shows the construction of a parabola. Use it to answer questions 1 and 2. And question 1 says that the path labeled T is a vertex. That is option D. The path labeled T is a vertex. So this point is where we have a vertex on a curve like this. Then question 2 says that if F is 15, then E is the answer to this question is also 15. That is option C. So when we talk about the parabola, so the distance of the focus from the vertex T, distance of the focus F from vertex T is equal to the distance of the distance between the distance E and distance F. So it's 15. So the answer is 15. That is option C to that question. Then when we move to question 3, we have that which of the following is constructed using the principle of involute? Which of the following is constructed using the principle of involute? The answer to this question is option A, which is gear. So we apply the principle of involute in the construction of gears. Now, question 4 says that the locus of a moving point equidistant from another fixed point is a parabola. So based on the explanation that I gave here, so the answer here is a parabola. So the distance of this point F from the vertex and distance of point T from the directrix. This line is what we call a directrix. So distance from this point T to this point on the vertex is 15, and distance of point T from the focus also 15 millimeters. So the answer to the question 4 is option B, that is parabola. Then we move to question 5 that says that to construct an ellipse using the figure, they are talking about this figure 4. So to construct an ellipse using the figure, dimensions X and Y respectively are option D. So the answer is major axis. So distance X is the major axis and distance Y is the minor axis. So the answer is option D, major axis and minor axis. Okay, then we come to question 6 that says that the forcing of the ellipse shown below are F1 and F2, the distance PQ minus distance F1R is equal to. Now, let me explain something here. They're talking about this diagram. Distance PQ is the major axis based on what I just explained here. So distance PQ is the major axis, and the sum of F1R and F2R is equal to PQ. Is equal to PQ. You can confirm that when you are doing the construction of an ellipse. So I said distance F1R plus distance F2R is equal to the distance PQ, which is the major axis. Now, as the question says here that the distance PQ minus F1R is equal to, so distance PQ minus F1R would be equal to OQ. It will be equal to OQ. That is half of the major axis. So distance F1R is half of the major axis. Likewise, distance F2R is half of the major axis. So, and distance OQ is also half of the major axis. So the answer is option B, which is OQ. Then we come to question 7, which says that what is the locus of a point which moves such that it is equidistant from a given line? So they're also talking about a parabola. So option C is the answer to this question. So parabola is the answer to the question. And question 8 says that what type of curve will be produced from the construction shown in figure 6? So the type of construction or the type of curve that will be produced here is a hyperbola. It's a hyperbola. In the case of hyperbola, the distance between the focus and the vertex is more than distance between the vertex and the directrix. So if the distance VF is 30 millimeters, or is 3 millimeters. Let me use 3 millimeters. So distance VO will be 2 millimeters. So that is why the eccentricity of a hyperbola is greater than 1. So it's greater than 1. So we have 3/2, which is greater than 1. So the kind of curve that will be produced here is a hyperbola. Now let's come to question 9, that in the ellipse shown in figure 7, the major diameter PR is equal to, just like the questions that we have answered above. So it will be equal to, so PR, as I've said on this question here, so it will be equal to the sum of F1T and F2T. As we have here, this option A is the answer to the question. So when we sum F1T and F2T together, it will give us distance PR, which is the major axis or major diameter as said in the question. Now we come to question 10. The name of the curve on the cylinder shown in figure 8 is a helix. So is the helix. So the answer is option D. Then question 11. Which of the following is not a locus of a moving point? So when we have option A, ellipse is a locus of a moving point. Option B, circle is a locus of a moving point. And option D also, parabola is a locus of a moving point. But a deltoid is not a locus of a moving point, is a quadrilateral which has unequal 4 sides and unequal 3 or 4 angles. Unequal 4 angles. So take note of that. Then we move to question 12, which says that the locus of a point which moves so that its distance from a fixed point equals its distance, its perpendicular distance from the fixed point is called a parabola. So that's talking about a parabola. So question 13. The distance along the axis that corresponds to 1 revolution of the circumference of a cylinder is a pitch. So it's a pitch. So distance from here to here is a pitch. And Then we come to question 14. In the construction of the helix below, the length h is the width sorry, I think this is option A. Okay, this is option A. Okay, so the length h is, so the answer is the lead. So the answer is the lead. So distance from here to here is the lead. Then so we move to question 15 that says that an ellipse is shown in the figure above. The major axis AB is equal to, so major axis AB will be equal to F1P and F plus F2P. So that is option E is the answer, F1P plus F2P. We have answered questions like that in the past. And also the tracing of question 16, the tracing of all the locations of a point which varies its distance according to a given law is, so the answer to this question is, the answer is the locus. So the answer is the locus. So the answer is the locus. That's the answer to that question. So question 17, CD is a rope that is wound around a drum with center E. What will be the locus of the end of the ND if the rope is unwound and kept taut? So the answer is involute. That is option A. Then we move to question 18 that says that the construction above, if completed, will produce a locus called a spiral. That is option E. And then question 19, if a string is wound and moved axially at a constant ratio around a cylindrical pencil, it will take the form of a helix. It will take the form of a helix. And question 20, in the ellipse drawn above, the major axis is the sum of CF1 plus CF2. That's option C. Question 21, in the parabola drawn below, the point labeled D is the focus. This point is the focus. So that is option B for that. Question 22, the locus of a point which has a constant ratio of unity to its perpendicular distance from directrix is a parabola. So you can see that questions on parabola, they are just changing. So I think that the answer to the question is still the same. So we have to use this question to answer question 23 and 24. So the type of locus is a ellipse. So this is the ellipse, and the part labeled X is a directrix. So this part is a directrix. Question 25, which of the following views represent the locus of a point equidistant from the circumference of two unequal circles shown in figure 5? So the answer to this question is option A. So the curve will always face the larger or bigger circle. That is option A. This question we have to use to answer question 26 and 27. Here we have that the curve T is a helix. So as I've said before, and the length marked G is the circumference. Distance from here to here is equal to circumference of the circle. Then question 28. The locus of the end of a pendulum of a wall clock is an arc. So you just visualize how it moves. Then a locus of a point moving such that the sum of the distance from two fixed points is constant is called a parabola. And question 30, a conic section whose eccentricity is equal to 1 is also a parabola. Question 31, a method of drawing ellipse by concentric circle method is an auxiliary circle method. Okay, so that's option C for that. Question 32, An ellipse is shown in figure 12 where OT equals 40 and MN equals 100. The length TF1 is equal to 50 based on my explanation that I made above. So just think about that. Question 33, the major diameter of the ellipse shown is, so the major diameter of the ellipse shown is F1U plus F2U. So that is the sum of F1U and F2U to give us TS, which is equal to the major diameter. When a rod is pivoted at one end and its end is free to rotate, the locus of the free end after a complete revolution is in the shape of a circle. Just visualize that. And question 35, a practical application of the principle of an involute is the construction of gears. Construction of gears, that is option C. And question 36, the locus of a point which moves such that a distance from a fixed point is equal to its perpendicular distance from a given straight line is a parabola. Then question 37, car headlamps are constructed by applying the principle of a parabola. And question 38, so the figure below shows a crank mechanism. Which of the following curves represent the locus of the midpoint of the connecting rod after a complete revolution of crank OR? The answer is option A. So that curve will give us the locus of point P. And question 39, in the diagram below, how rotate around O and Q is constrained so that it moves on OT. Which of this is the locus of point P after a revolution of OR? So the answer is option B, just like what we just answered above in question 38. Then question 40, identify the locus formed at point B in the diagram below after a complete revolution of OA. So the answer is A. And question 41 says that if the crank OP is pin jointed at S, identify the point that will produce a straight line as its locus when crank OP rotates as shown below. So the answer is point S will be the one that will give us a straight line. So this will give us just a curve like the one that I've shown above, and also likewise P, this point S. So as this connecting rod will just be going straight. So point S will produce a straight line. And we have to use this question to answer question 42, question 42, and also 43, and 43, okay? Question 42 and 43. So here we have question 42 says that the maximum displacement of, okay, we are given some values here. So we have a link mechanism where OM is 40 and MN is 120. So we have to use to answer question 42 and 43. So the maximum displacement of N as OM rotate is 165. That's the sum of this 40 and 125. So that is 165. Their question 43, link MN is as applicable to the mechanism represented by the sketch is a connecting rod. That is option A is the answer to that question. So link MN is a connecting rod. So I put these questions together under a topic that is Loci. So all these questions are related to Loci. So you may come across any of these in your exam. So I believe you should be able to answer such a question when you come across it. So all you need to do is to practice. When you practice this subject, you become a master at it. Thank you and God bless you.